What's up, YouTube? Today's video is all about the pickups I got during the month of October 2015. This month is a little bit lighter on pickups than my typical video is, and a couple of reasons for that. One of those is my gaming budget was stretched a little thin, and I'll show you why here in a moment. And the other reason is because I only did a little bit of traveling this month. I had a pretty hectic work month, and the only place I got to go to this month was Chicago, Illinois. So I did get some cool pickups there, but overall didn't do as much traveling as I typically do. So first reason this video's pickups are a little bit light is because a lot of my gaming budget this month went into repairing my Turbo Duo system. And if you saw my recent video on the Turbo Duo, I covered my collection, both the US and the Japanese TurboGrafx and PC Engine games. But the one thing I mentioned is that my Turbo Duo system needed some repair. The sound was glitching in the CD-based games, and actually all the games, and that's a common issue when the capacitors in these dry up and leak. So I took this, I sent it off to one of my favorite modders, and he took care of it for me. He actually did three things to the system for me. So he fixed all the dried up capacitors in it, replaced them with all new ones. He also did a RGB mod to this, so now I can output RGB as well as the standard AV. And the nice thing about that is it's a completely transparent mod to the outside of the casing. They both use just the standard AV input here, whether you're plugging in an RGB cable or the AV cable. So that's very nice. And the other thing he did for me is he also region modded it for me. So now this is region free. I can play my Japanese PC Engine games on this without having to use my Japanese PC Engine system. And really this is the best of both worlds. I have a fully US and Japanese compatible CD and HuCard based system. So now that this is the true super system the Turbo Duo was meant to be, this is a very nice piece of my collection. I plan on using this much more now. So the other thing I wanted to show on the system is just the region mod. That was the only drilling he actually had to do to the console, and it is very minor. It's just this nice little switch on the back that you use to flip between US and Japanese games. So, all that said, all this work on the system was not cheap. However, in the long run it was worth it because the system is definitely going up in price, and with all these nice little benefits, and especially being able to output RGB video, this is about as good as you're going to get with the Turbo Duo system. So, very happy to have this back. And like I said, this was a big chunk of my pickups this month was because I wanted to get this system tuned up. So with that said, let me go ahead and go into the pickups I did get this month. I picked up a few Master System games to start off, and that is a little bit unusual. I don't see too many Master System games in the wild, but these were all in really mint condition, so I decided to go ahead and take a chance on these. First one of these is Space Harrier 3D. You do need the 3D goggles to play this game, which I don't have those yet. However, I have played this game at a friend's house that does have them, and it's a lot of fun, so definitely looking forward to that in the future. Next one of these I got is Rambo 3. This is a light gun game for the system, and not a whole lot of those, so I think this is worth checking out. Then I got Enduro Racer. This is a isometric motorcycle racing game, is I guess the best way to put it. Kind of cool and innovative first time. And the last one I got of these is Casino Games, and you're thinking, big deal, another casino game, right? So the reason I wanted to play this one is I was looking at the cover art on it in the store, and I noticed that one of the casino games is actually a video pinball game, if you can see that. I really like video pinball games, and so that was a natural fit for me, and hoping to check this out very soon. Excited about this one. So that is all the Master System games I got. I'll go into the Sega Genesis games I got this month. It actually is incredibly light compared to usual. The only thing I got for Sega Genesis this month is a complete copy of Batman Returns. This is just one of the Batman games I never had for the Genesis, so decided to check it out. And then we get into my Sega Saturn games. Sega Saturn is obviously the collection I'm going for the full set on right now. And with this month's pickups, I think I'm down to 5, maybe 6 remaining titles. So I'm getting very, very close. Got some big ones out of the way, and not only just some big ones, but some ones that were very tough to find out of the way this month. So with that said, let me show you the weirdest one of these first. One of the things for the Sega Saturn that is very difficult to find is there were a couple games, 3 games to be precise, that are Netlink compatible games, and they were only released in obscure formats. They weren't typical retail releases. So this first one of these I'm going to show you is the Netlink Game Pack. And this is in this giant weird box. I had no idea the box was going to be this big when I ordered it. unfortunately, this is actually, and kind of unfortunately, this is new and sealed, so now I'm going to be afraid to open this up. I'll probably just leave it sealed. However, I couldn't find it opened or sealed. I really didn't have a choice. I just really was looking for this. Inside of this box is one of the revisions to the Sega Netlink browser, which who cares, but also 2 exclusive games that you need for your Saturn collection. This has Sega Rally Championship Netlink Edition and also the Virtual On Netlink Edition. Both of these are slightly altered from their normal console versions. So the Sega Rally actually is called Sega Rally Championship Plus, and I think they actually made some gameplay tweaks to it, so it's probably the best version of that game that you can get on the Saturn. The other thing that's interesting about this is the games in here in this big box are just in jewel cases, but then they have long format manuals, only in black and white, that would be normal Saturn case size. So it's really a strange package. I've heard a few conflicting versions of how this one came to be. Either it was a mail order or it only came in like specially marked versions of the system that supported the Netlink. I don't really know exactly the full story on this. However, this one's sealed. It's kind of cool to get it this way, and very happy to knock out 2 games in my collection based on this. Alright, so let's get into the standard Saturn games I got this month. All of these were ones that have given me a lot of trouble for some reason or another to find. The first one of these was one I got in Chicago, and I was very happy to find it on the shelf because I couldn't find this game locally anywhere, and really was struggling to even find this online, at least at a decent price. And that is Mega Man X4. So very cool one to get there. Heard it's a little bit better than the PlayStation version, which I've had for a while, but very much looking forward to trying this, and happy to get this one off the list. Next one I was kind of interested in as well. This is Golden Axe The Duel. So it is a 2D fighting game starring a lot of the Golden Axe characters, which is kind of a unique concept. Definitely looking forward to trying this one out too. Then we got Alone in the Dark, One-Eyed Jack's Revenge. And the reason this one gave me some trouble to get is I've seen this game several times. However, I was holding out for a true complete copy of this one. And what makes this one the true complete copy is, if you see here, it says there was an original phone card included in the package that you could call their 1-800 tip line with and get 5 minutes of free tips to help you with the game. I know, right? Crazy pre-internet day. So this one actually has the phone card included with the prepaid tip line on the back. I'm actually curious if I could call that and see if it actually goes to anything. But anyways, that said, this is a complete copy of the game now. I'm very happy to have it, and that's why I was being so picky on that one, is I wanted one with the phone card. The last one I got is not necessarily a rare one for the Saturn. It's just one I really had trouble finding locally, and I was kind of holding out for a local buy, and that is just Doom. It's the Saturn port of Doom, so yeah, nothing special there, just kind of was a weird one that it took me so long to get it. So with that said, let's move on to some Sony systems. That was all I got for Sega systems this month. We'll talk about the PS1 first, and while I was in Chicago, I also got an import game for the PS1. Found it at a local store there, was very surprised to see it because it was really the only import game they carried. But this is a good one. This is one that's a pretty obscure one for the Japanese PlayStation, and that is Crazy Climber 2000 by Nichibutsu. So if you've ever played the arcade classic Crazy Climber, that is included on the pack. However, this is an all-new version of the game that supported the Sony DualShock controller, and very cool. This was complete. It had the spine card inside of it, and very much looking forward to playing this. Wasn't really super high on my list, but when you see something like that in a store, you got to jump on it, right? The next thing I got is Running Wild, and always was kind of curious about this. It pretty much looks like a kart racer without the karts. They just kind of run through the courses. Character-based animation, of course. It's somewhat related to Crash Bandicoot somehow, at least according to the cover. And definitely was looking forward to this because it seems to be a pretty obscure one. The next one I got is also another one that's very difficult to find, and really it's just this variant of it, and that is Street Fighter Alpha 2. So Street Fighter Alpha 2 was one of the early jewel case games for the system, and this is the re-release variant of it that comes in this Fighter's Edge packaging. Some of the games that are in the Fighter's Edge packaging only have a Fighter's Edge version, like Rival Schools, but some of them are also the variants, and if you're collecting these variants, a few of them are very difficult to find. This one and the Darkstalkers one come to mind. I wasn't necessarily going for a full set of the Fighter's Edge games, but now I'm kind of thinking maybe I do want to do that, so you can comment if you think that's a good idea or not. I don't know. If you have some of those Fighter's Edge games, I might be interested. I pretty much have most of the ones that only come in Fighter's Edge packaging, but some of the variants now are kind of interesting to me, so we'll see how that progresses. Next one I got for the PlayStation is the original Medieval, and I got the sequel to this last month, so I was kind of looking forward to getting the pair. This is a game that seems to be drying up. I don't see this one very often anymore, so I was very happy to get it. And the last one I got for PlayStation, I was very happy to pick up. This one is the last Working Designs game I needed for the PlayStation, so now I have the full set of those. I am going for a full set of all the Working Designs titles, so now all I need is a few of the Turbo graphics and the Sega CD ones, and I'll be done. This one is Vanguard Bandits, which is an interesting mech strategy game. Haven't had a chance to play it too much, but definitely looking forward to it. Typical quality Working Designs art, animation, and voice work, so very, very much happy to get this. I don't know why this one was so hard for me to find, but I ended up having to buy this on the internet. Never could find one locally, so very happy to get that off the list as well. Next I'll talk about a couple PS2 games I got. Again, not a whole lot for that system bought this month. First one of these is Capcom Fighting Evolution, and this one has characters from 5 of their classic fighting franchises. It's a new game, however. I was hoping that this had Red Earth on it, but it just has some characters from it. Red Earth is kind of one of the more obscure Capcom fighters, and I don't know, it's a nice package, just happy to get it. Didn't only cost a few bucks. The other one I got for PS2 is Okage Shadow King, and been interested in this one for a long time, just never could really find it locally. Very cheap, I got it, and this was an early PS2 title, so I don't really think they made a whole lot of them. Then I got a couple games for the PS3 this month. First one of these I don't know a whole lot about. I was talking to Crack Lotus about this game. He said he'd beaten it, and it's very difficult, so looking forward to trying it out. That one is The Guided Fate Paradox, and all I really know about this one is you get to play God, or your character is considered God, and your decisions affect the others around you, so kind of a crazy game. Looking forward to trying that out. The other one I got for the PS3 is one I've heard a lot about, I just never picked it up, and that is Deadly Premonition, the Director's Cut. So very happy to get that one as well. Figured that'd be a good game to play around Halloween as well. Next I'll move into the NES, and if you've been watching my videos, you know I pretty much have a complete NES set. The only thing I'm really missing is Stadium Events and a few of the unlicensed games like the Panesians. However, there's a few variants that I'm still collecting that I never had over the years as I was building up my collection. This one's kind of an obvious one. It's just one I never decided to get until now, so this one is taken care of. I'll go ahead and take this out of the sleeve, but that is the re-release version of Metroid that comes with this totally different artwork and the yellow label. And I actually got a manual for it, and I already had the box for it, so this is even complete. But nice variant to have in the collection, especially because it's completely different artwork, not just a small change. So nice to have that. I don't know why I put it off getting this for so long. Metroid's a good game. I've just been playing my original copy for all these years. Next is the Super Nintendo, and I only got one game for that as well this month. And this is one I was also interested in. I've been looking for a while. That is Brandish. It says it was published by Koei, however they did not develop this game. This game was developed by Falcom, who made the Ys games, if you like those. And I heard some pretty good things about this game, so looking forward to trying it. I believe there is a Japanese PSP remake of this game that came out as well, so if that's somewhat English-friendly, I'd be interested in trying that out too. Next we'll move into some portable systems, and I did get some interesting portable games this month. We'll talk about the original Game Boy first, and the first one of these is a really weird title. This is the first one of these I have in my collection, and it's one of the Wisdom Tree unlicensed Bible games for the Game Boy. The other thing I thought was really cool about this is not only was it an unlicensed game, but they had a really unique cartridge design for the Game Boy. So I will show that to you now. This is Exodus Journey to the Promised Land, and I don't know how well you can see the shape of this, but it has kind of a ridge that goes down it. The one thing I found out about this is this will not work in a Game Boy Advance SP. I had to pull out my old Game Boy Color to play it. And I've played this game on the NES. I mean, whatever. It's a Bible-themed puzzle game. What's interesting is, though, for the Game Boy, it actually has really good graphics. They did a nice job with this. The game itself is pretty lame. You have, I don't know, just very simple puzzle action, and then you get Bible quizzes and Bible verses in between the levels and all that good stuff. Kind of funny, but I was just really impressed that they got that kind of graphics out of the Game Boy. It was a better effort than I was expecting, for sure. The other thing I got for the original Game Boy this month is 3 import games, and I got all these very cheap at one of my local stores. I don't remember the precise titles of these, so I'll just show you what they are. They all follow a theme. These are all considered Kunio-kun series games, and so one of these is the Kunio-kun soccer game, which I believe is the same as Nintendo World Cup. Then we have one of the Kunio-riki games, I believe, or something like that. I think this is somewhat of a sequel to River City Ransom. Don't hold me to that. And then the other one, I forgot the subtitle of this one as well. This is like a Kunio downtown racing game, if it's the one I think it is. So anyway, haven't put much time into those. They all have cool artwork, so I was just happy to get those. I don't really think they're worth a lot, but I was always happy to get some more Kunio games in my collection. Next system I'll cover is the Game Boy Color, and I got some pretty good Game Boy Color games this month. The first one of those is a loose copy of Ghosts and Goblins. I've been looking for this for a while. I'd like to have it complete, but for now this will do. Then I got one that I'd never seen before. I found out the US version of this is very rare. The UK version is very common, and a lot of those have come into the US, though. So if you want the US version of this, I'll show you how to spot it. But that is Towers, Lord Banif's Deceit. This is a first-person RPG. It's not very good. But for collecting purposes, if you want to get the rare version of this, look for the one that's made by Vatical. That is the US published one. All the UK published ones were published by Telegames. So I see those on eBay pretty often, but the Vatical version is the rare one. The other things I got or the last thing I got for Game Boy Color, 2 last things, is upgraded to a boxed copy of this game. This is a pretty cool game that you wouldn't think by the license. But that is Yogi Bear's Great Balloon Blast. So why would I want to play this? This is actually a Taito game, and it is Taito's game Poppin' Pop with a licensed character added to it for the US. So it plays just like Poppin' Pop, which is a mix of Space Invaders and Bust a Move, which is a very cool Taito game. And nice fun for the Game Boy. I mean, ignore the license completely. It's a fun game. The other one I got for Game Boy Color this month is a rebuy. I bought a copy of this cartridge a few months ago, and it was in perfectly clean condition. I cleaned the contacts, I took it apart, I did everything to this cartridge, and it just will not boot up. It's the weirdest thing ever. I've never had a Game Boy game die on me like that. So I bought a new copy of this game, and then I also bought it with the box, so now I have a boxed copy. And now that I've played this game, it was worth the wait. This game is a completely unheralded gem on the Game Boy Color. It is developed by the same people that developed Shantae, which, as you know, goes for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. This game is significantly cheaper and is really no less technologically advanced for its time. I really wish this game got a little more love, and that is Windy Every Which Way. Again, kind of a dumb licensed character. I guess it's a licensed character, I don't really know. But very innovative gameplay. The idea with the Every Which Way is you can play standard scrolling, or you can also play in anti-gravity mode. And you can flip it with the push of a button. In between a few of the action stages, there's actually shooter mini games as well. So it's a really good package. This game, like I say, it doesn't go for a whole lot, but to me, it's not a common one for Game Boy Color, and very good. The other thing that's really cool about this, again showing the developer put some love into this, is there's 3 additional stages which will only play on a Game Boy Advance. So, yeah, who else was doing stuff like that during the Game Boy Color age? Very cool stuff. Like I said, highly recommend this one. Hopefully I'll get a manual for this so I can get it complete, but for now, very happy to have it. Next we'll move into the Game Boy Advance. I got a couple complete games for that system, and the first one of these is a shooter. This is Iridian 3D, and I already had the sequel, Iridian 2, but very much was looking forward to trying this. This was known as a graphics powerhouse for the Game Boy Advance when it came out, and I still think the graphics hold up very well. Very nice early title for the system, and can definitely recommend it. The other thing I got for Game Boy Advance is an import game, and this is one I've been looking for a really long time. I've heard some nice things about it. I sat down and played it for quite a bit this month. I actually had a lot of fun with it, and that is Metal Gun Slinger. This is a very obscure title. It was by some publisher, I believe, called Atmark. Probably one of their only games they put out, but it is very good. And for those that are looking for what this game is, Best way I can describe it is a slower-paced Gunstar Heroes with a Wild Wild West theme. Very Americanized Western-style graphics. So, very cool. Has a pretty deep story, it looks like, which is all in Japanese, of course. But some nice animated stills in between the levels, and a lot of fun to play. The bosses are pretty creative, too. Definitely can recommend this game. I was happy to get this from Japan this month. Alright, so next we'll move into a few Wii games, and then I'll show you just a couple of the other oddball things I got this month. Really, like I said, that's about it for the month. It wasn't a super packed game-buying month. First one of these is one that Crack Lotus also tipped me off about. I didn't know anything about this game, and as we both found out, this game is pretty difficult to get, so I was happy to find one of these complete with the original decal that it came with, and that is the Munchables for Wii. Very unusual Bandai Namco game. So, I don't know if I can show you that, but it has the manual and everything, and as well as this little decal that came with the game originally. So, happy to get that one. Another one that he also tipped me off about is Domino Rally. And we were talking about the game No One Can Stop Mr. Domino on PS1. This game is not a sequel to that, however, it is very similar kind of in theme, is that you run through stages pushing a bunch of dominoes, basically with the Wii remote. So, very wacky Japanese game. I found out this was developed by Red, the original creators of the Bonk and Sakura Taisen series, and figured it was worth a shot. I mean, I got this game very cheap, and somehow it skipped past my radar. The other thing I got, or two other things I got for Wii. The first one of these is Rygar, The Battle for Argus. This is a game I don't see often for the Wii. It's not worth a whole lot of money by any means, but in the future, maybe that'll change. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I did play the 3D remake of Rygar for the PS2 quite a bit, and really enjoyed it, even though I don't typically like 3D action games. So this one may just be an enhancement of the remake, or it may be a new game. I'm not really sure on that. So if you know, you can please leave me a comment. Let me know how this game is. Maybe it's garbage, I don't know. But always like the Rygar series games, and not really sure why this one didn't get a whole lot of love. So character artwork on this is pretty cool too. Gotta point that out. So anyway, the other one I got for Wii, this is another oddball title, and didn't even know this existed. I saw this on the store shelf. Found out it's a shooter. It probably isn't a very good one. However, definitely like collecting shooters, no matter how good or crappy they are. I can always laugh at them if they're bad. And that is Veggie World. Yeah, I know, right? So, very weird game. Couldn't really figure out who exactly developed this. It's got a bunch of different publishers and developers listed on the back. It is a very strange looking shooter with vegetables. And I've never spelled veggie that way. So I don't know where that came from either, but I don't see this one often. I don't think it's a very common game. So that said, that is all the games I got for this month. Let me show you some other stuff I got over the last month that is gaming related. First thing is something that I don't love, the N64. I've made no secret about it here, but this is something I never even bothered to buy for my N64. One of my friends just gave one to me this month, and that is a N64 Rumble Pack, one of the original Nintendo brand ones. So yeah, that's out of the way. Then I got a couple manuals I needed. First one of these is for Batman the Animated Series on Game Boy. I really love this game. This is as close to Castlevania on Game Boy you're going to get that isn't a Castlevania title. It's obviously developed by the same team. A lot of fun game to play, or game is a lot of fun to play, and happy to get the manual. Maybe I can get a box for that eventually. The other manual I picked up this month is Doomsday Warrior. This is the only renovation title for the Super Nintendo that they released, and I'm going for a full renovation set, so that was much needed. And then I got a book, The Complete Guide to Nintendo Video Games. This was published in like 91, I believe, and it actually has nice full-color pictures of all the games, charts and all that. It's by the same people that made Video Games and Computer Entertainment magazine, if you've ever read any of those. Believe that they just ripped the reviews straight out of the magazine for several of these games and put them in here. The one thing I'll say about it is it's not very objective about how it views the games. They all pretty much rate about the same. Most games are kind of in the 7 and an 8 out of 10 range. The one thing I thought was really funny about this book is there was one game they really loved. They gave it like all 10s or all 9s or something. And it's a game that I don't think anybody regards highly for the NES, and that is Galaxy 5000, which is just this trashy, futuristic racing game. So, very strange that they love that game so much more than just about everything. A few games that I really like Wampum, they gave very low scores to, so I was also disappointed by that. But I got this for like $1 and it was kind of a funny read, so I went through it. That's that, and I'll just move on. The other thing I got for this month was some other gaming-related magazines, and this was my local friend Bob actually gave me a really good hookup on this. I was collecting the Sega Visions magazine, which was put out by Sega for pretty much the period of like 1990 to 1995. They had a very sporadic publishing run. These were free if you sent in a card with your Sega. But you had to re-up the subscription. A lot of people didn't, and they're very difficult to find even today. Sometimes they went like 6 months within publishing an issue. Sometimes they were publishing them bi-monthly. So it's really tough to find like how many actually were part of the run until I actually found an official checklist. So there were 25 issues that actually came out. This is the very first one, I believe. Yep. Very cool cover on this one, and they actually started, most of these were covering Master System games and just a little bit of Genesis. So gives you an idea of the period. I'll show you the other ones here. This one was all about the Sega Channel when that was new. This one's much later than that first one. And then we have a Kid Chameleon issue. Fahrenheit for the 32X Sega CD combo. Not a very memorable game. This is another early issue, talking about when Sonic first came out for the Genesis. And then we also have an issue here about Sonic Spinball. So in total, there were 25 issues of this magazine printed, and these were actually the last, 6 that I needed for the collection. So I have all 25. Very happy to get the set of those, and something you don't see too often, so nice little pickup there. So that pretty much does it for the month. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought of the video, and you can leave me a link to your pickups video this month. Happy to subscribe and take a look at those if I get a second. Please let me know how I'm doing, and have a great day or night wherever you are. I'll talk to you soon.